Okay. Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Yep, it's on now.
4 o'clock, right across the street from the Regency on Lippincott.
Yes, sir.
I'll call her.
You know how you refresh it.
Okay.
But the next time we have a meeting at the barber shop, I am gonna call you, which won't be this coming weekend, but the following weekend. We'll have you there and have Larry Lott. You know Larry Lott?
I just met him the other day, 2 weeks ago.
Lott.
It is brother from the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him the other day.
He was there. He was there when I called you. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of said he didn't want the guy because the guy demonstrated being in a gang, you know.
Okay.
But after talking to him, he was the only member in this gang. He was a Lone Ranger gang member. You know?
Independent member.
Come on, man. His mama say he has the house 90% of the time. So I said, how is he in the game?
He banging it.
He on the computer.
Man, stop, Kevin. They said he over there gang banging on the computer, man.
Gang banging on the computer, man. This kid's like, Larry's filling them out, you know. So while Larry's filling them out, I called you. I said, I got to find somebody to take this boy, you know. Because he ain't a bad kid. You can look at him and tell he ain't a bad kid. You know how you can look at some kids, man, tell if you got to get your pistol or something.
Yeah.
The kid, you ain't got to do that, man. He just.
But the father's in the home, DeWaun. His father's in the home. Think about that.
And the father's in his home. The father and the son live in the same home.
The father's in the house.
Now, how does that happen?
Well,
the father needs some mentoring classes. I'm gonna have to work with the dad.
That's why he ain't banging outside, because dad home.
She ain't gonna lose her son.
That's right.
To no. She determined that she ain't gonna lose that.
That's good.
So she wanted somebody to talk to.
That's love, man. That's what we want.
That's right. No, we definitely is that the guy? That's the one that's gonna be there tomorrow.
No, these the same ones that was there before with me and you. It might be another one. Different one came the other day.
Okay,
last
gotcha.
week. So
Gotcha.
these are older gentlemen that we're gonna be seeing tomorrow.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be coming from I had a 10 o'clock appointment, then another 11:30. So I'll be coming right back. I'll be coming right from there.
Okay. Well, while I see you, we be finished up. We in the 9th week, man. We almost finished with this program.
We logging and loading.
12-week program. It's a 12-week program. Porter will probably finish it up next week, and then me, and then we'll finish it out. We'll do a graduation.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a graduation with them guys, man, on a Sunday or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
Buy pizza and stuff like that, and we just get them their t-shirts and do a graduation.
No, that's right on time, man. I'm proud to look at. We came, saw, we conquered, man. I'm definitely glad to see this the progression in the work.
I tell everybody, ain't nothing. Don't be scared. Ain't nothing gonna happen but a failure. You know, we jumped in there and did it, and it was successful.
That's right.
You know, if you're scared and never you keep perpetrating, you never will jump in there and do it. You know.
No, that's real.
And we got in there, and now we on the 9th week, man. We're on the 10th week, 9th week.
But
I'm proud of it too.
There's more power to the success, man. Let's keep the energy going.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, I wanted to ask you something. Are you you work for Flint Housing, right?
Yeah, I serve as a commissioner.
Okay, you know Jason?
Yeah, Jason Barrow.
Jason Barrow, I talked to him today.
Okay.
I talked to Jason. I went to a steering.
light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it, dogs. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce.
My city experiencing a transition from penny pinching, maximizing our dollars, multiply triple digits. I came a long way from baby jars in a project kitchen.
Peace and blessings, family. Welcome you to another session of Fli-City Blackout. I'm your host, DeWaun E. Robinson, aka Royale X, and I'm sitting here with our good brother from the Ninth Ward, representing Mr. Jonathan Jarrett. How you doing there, good brother?
I'm well. What about you?
Man, all is well,
Good
baby.
to see you.
You know, hanging strong in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, I can't do nothing but continue to just try to go ahead and do what's necessarily on the grassroots level.
You know, it's been what, 10, 12 years?
Yeah.
I
Since
remember
being at the work.
yeah, I was first introduced to this good brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10, 12 years ago.
That was a long
My
time.
college workforce development.
You absolutely right. You absolutely right.
Young man around there just really wanting to understand so that you could do the kind of good work that you're doing now.
Yes, sir.
So I applaud you absolutely.
Nah, I appreciate it.
Which I see from you.
You know, I used to watch you and, you know, other good brothers in there, man. Y'all was facilitating. You know what I really appreciated about that? It was just us in there. Right. And that was just a beautiful thing, especially like a young brother coming up, you know, and you know, I was in school at the same time. And just to see y'all facilitating programs, right? Getting people jobs, right? Working with, you know, the students that was coming from Mott, right? And then in partnership with Michigan Works across the street, you know, and holding those type of, you know, initiatives and, you know, those activities taking place out the building, man, in the CRC lab, you know, when folks try to get resumes and things of that nature. So I was in the CRC lab, so I was working, helping folks get resumes and things of that nature. But just to see all you all just, you know, getting to it, writing grants, right? It was just a hub for, you know, a collective, intelligent group that was just, you know, putting on for the city, man. So man, I take all that with me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, in that, I didn't know it at the time, but that place in that time laid the foundation for my candidacy now.
See,
because prior to that work experience, you know, I'd been in corporate America,
right,
in banking.
That's right.
And a very, you know, about the bottom line type of thing. And and I got there, and when you talk about the love in that place, it really helped to shape a heart to want to be of service to other people. I used to be amazed at, you know, I remember at that time we had to work a lot. We were working a lot of weekends because we had so much backlog. This was back in the no worker left behind days, and all of those dollars.
That's right.
And all of those grant dollars. So we were working weekends, and I would hear my coworkers talk about this name, that name, and they could remember the names of people and what those people were doing. I'm like, y'all remember all these folks by name? And, you know, after a while, you really start getting in there, working with people, understanding stories, developing heart to really want to help people move beyond where they are or where they were at that time.
Yeah, man.
And that was the switch. That's where the light switch flipped for me to give me a desire to want to be a help to others.
And you know what, man? I concur with you too, because, you know, for me, it was the same thing, right? It was just, you know, I guess it was a love for getting engaged into the community, understanding, you know, meeting the basic needs of people, right? And forming, you know, relationships, and also options of education. So, you know, I took those type of opportunities because I was just coming back to Flint. I was living in Detroit, you know, coming back and doing music, those type of things. And I came back to Flint, you know, unwillingly. You know, I thought I was supposed to be in LA somewhere, but, you know, I hadn't made my way back here in Flint and enrolled in school. So, man, you know, that kind of put me on a different course in life, man. That got me engaged more into the community. I was doing a lot of public affairs work, then, of course, working with people's campaigns. You know, it gave me a different aspect on how to be a stand-up member here in the Flint community.
Right.
And I think, I appreciate, being involved and around, good folks like yourself. And Miss Gail Bowman, she was just here last week. And I still, of course, I still see the young brothers, man, like brother Janelle and
they're doing good work.
man. I'm just saying,
that place has produced
yeah,
some people of influence
for sure,
and position here in this city.
Yes, it has.
I mean,
that's why I say it was like just fun.
It was an incubator.
It was.
It was an incubator for talent.
It sure was, bro.
A lot of professional talent
yeah.
came out of the staff of workforce development, especially black young men.
It was all black. That's what that.
But it was black young men that Robert Matthews made a point to put his hands on.
Man, and
shape.
You absolutely right. You absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? We had brothers like, Moses and we had Isaiah, right? Mario. We had a number of different brothers, man, that was kind of just in there getting to it, man. And like you said, man, I think it really it was an incubator for us being into the professional field,
right,
and doing something, for our community, right, and getting into roles and responsibilities, man, based off the skill sets that we have learned coming through that place. So,
yes, I want to acknowledge that time, and again, acknowledge that I appreciate what I have seen from then to now by way of your involvement, as you I think said, at a grassroots level, but really at the level that's making difference.
Come on, now. That was the whole plan.
Yeah,
and I contribute that to you all.
Well,
but you know what? John, that's when we talk about continuity, right? And it took folks to continue to keep educating the people that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go and have a hand in the development of these young people.
Right.
If we supporting them, right, then they won't go astray. That's why then we won't be worried about 13% of voter turnout here in the city of Flint. They'll be looking a whole bunch different. If everybody engaged in the process, everybody understand how this works, everybody understand it's more than just voting, but we being at the table, we on these committees, we serving as delegates, right? Everybody is a part of the mission. Don't know this city don't move unless everybody a part of it.
Right.
So them folks downtown can think that they got it going on and think they in position. But if you don't got the heart of the people, if you ain't got us mobilizing around a certain different task or objective or a mission or a goal, then you're not getting true representation.
See, and that one thing that I know about myself and have learned about myself is I don't have to be the lead or the face of a thing. I'm more interested in being at or around the table.
Come on now.
Where the decisions are made, such that I can have input and or pose the questions that, at least to my mind, satisfy. Did they think about that from any perspective other than their own?
That's right.
Did they give consideration to anybody else or to any other group outside of what they may have already come to the table thinking?
That's right.
I had the great fortune of being raised in a home where I remember growing up, we'd be driving home from someplace and my dad had a radio on. And when we get into the neighborhood, he turned it down because he's considerate of other people.
Out of respect, yeah.
And that has ingrained in me a thought process to think about a position other than my own so that I can make a well-rounded, good decision.
Come on now.
And when you're sitting in the seats that I like, the one I'm looking to sit in, I recognize I'm not casting a vote for Jonathan Jarrett in his house only.
No. You doing it for the good folks.
I have to give consideration to those that I'm representing.
That's right. That's right.
And for the betterment of the whole.
Come on now.
And not just, okay, so this is going to impact me how?
Right.
I can't.
I'm glad you see it
that way already.
I'm glad you see it that way because a lot of times people get it twisted. They think that, we work for elected officials. Ultimately, it's the other way around. The people that get put in those positions, elected officials, are put there from the people.
Right.
So ultimately, the people has that control to understand that, hey, listen, we respect this person to serve in our capacity for us and represent for us, right? That actually has to be the mindset. I'm glad that you're coming in and you're just thinking of it already. Like, I'm not casting the vote for what I want to do in my household, but I'm casting the vote for not only the good folks in the Ninth Ward, but I'm casting the vote for what makes sense for this city.
Right.
And how I can work with other wards and other representatives to continue to advance this community.
That's what we are experiencing now is the 9 of us coming together to, as is said in the city, to move the city forward. And we're gonna have to come together to move. And I've been sort of stuck on that phrase, move the city forward, because for me, it's not about moving an institution forward. It's about moving the people of the city forward.
Yeah.
And that's where, we were having a discussion earlier, and that's where, moving the people of the city forward, to me, looks like, how do we create stable conditions for all? I can appreciate and understand not necessarily want the responsibility of home ownership for some, but for those that want home ownership, how do we help them achieve that?
I think it's the educational component behind that. When you talk about home ownership, that is the first sign of wealth, right? And create generational wealth. Like, if you want to have an inheritance, if you want to pass these type of assets down to family member, son, daughter, etc., then a home is a phenomenal asset to have.
That's a good place to do it with.
So people should understand the benefits of owning property, right? And the differences between a mortgage versus rent, right? And you pay less in a mortgage than you would pay in renting, right? And I think sometimes
that's what I don't think a lot.
Some
don't understand that.
They look at the responsibilities. Yeah, but you want to have a responsibility though, right?
You would think when out of my $1,100 rent or mortgage payment, eventually I get to keep a little bit of that by way of equity versus I done gave you all my $1,100.
I gave you everything.
And then, still either have to bear the responsibility of changing my own light bulb still, getting up on the, clearing the gutter still, cutting the grass still for you.
Yeah, you go to do that anyway though.
But that's where and I guess I don't already went off on my CRA tangent. But
no, but I think that's the thing when people they get a misconception, right? A lot of times people want things easy. But anything worth having, you got to put some work in. You got to talk about the sweat equity. So if I'm cutting my grass, if I'm painting walls, if I'm putting new tile in, if I got to fix the bathroom or the kitchen, right? That's me doing, but then I feel good about building up this property that I own. I feel good. When I be having to fix something in the house, first I look at it like, man, I got to do this water heater. Man, I don't feel like doing this, right? We ain't going to have no water. How water here. Remember Brother Robert was going through that? I like, man, I got to go ahead and get to it. So I had to do the research necessary to go ahead and find the pieces, do some troubleshooting. And by the end of the project, man, I felt good because I was able to troubleshoot. I needed the control, spent about $400 for the control. And then I had to call Brother Andre in to go ahead and put it on for me. But he was showing me how to do it. Yeah. So next time I need to replace this control at least, then I got a good understanding of how that works.
It's funny because there are times when after I cut my grass, I'm like, I got the best looking grass on the lot. It's like I have a sense, or I feel like, okay, neighbor,
you're right.
Top that.
Come on, huh?
You're
taking care of it.
Yeah, there's a certain sense of not pride just in the ownership, but in the way I'm representing myself.
That's right.
In my household. And there is a need for there to be that outbreak of a desire for that kind of pride in oneself.
Come on now. I would agree with you when it comes down to having a pride about the work that you put in, and then especially like you said, it was a time even in my neighborhood, right? I have a corner lot house, right, and I end up purchasing the parcel lots around it. So I purchased one from the state land bank and one from Genesee County land bank. So that just means more grass to cut.
Yeah,
so when my son is like, we have to rock, paper, scissors, like who gonna do it this weekend, who gonna get it in, and the boy still charged me. But the thing is this though, it's like after we do the job, after we cut the grass, we do the edges, right? We might even power wash the house, right? It looked really good, so you'd be kind of proud of that. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like this is something that we contribute to taking care of. We don't want to be a bad look on our neighbors.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We don't want to bring the property value down. So that's the thing in ownership. You start thinking of it like that.
You do.
I don't want to just be the reason why it's trash all over the floor. I don't want to be looking like that, especially on the corner. So, we're going to take pride in this. We want the whole neighborhood to look good. Everybody's grass is cut. And then we all feel good about this. Now the tax value is raised, right? We making additions on the houses, and everybody's just looking good, and we looking at for the children that running up and down the street. It's a safe environment. That's a beautiful thing.
That's what we want.
That's a wonderful thing.
That's what we want.
Right? We ain't got to be living, in dire situations.
Right.
I think we have become accustomed to, just not putting in the work into cleaning up our neighborhood, picking up trash, cutting the grass, looking out for our neighbors, right? Looking out for the children. We lost that aspect, in, I guess, over the years. But I think this would be a time to be able to talk and bring it back.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I believe, an element of exposure that is necessary, and education. And when I say education, I don't mean to say a formal education, but more so the education that comes by way of exposure.
That's right.
I listened to a podcast, and I gotta cite Fred Taylor from the Pivot podcast, and he'll often say exposure leads to expansion.
Is that the running back?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. He was with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Actually, that was my guy. I remember him too. He was a really good running back.
Exposure leads to expansion. So when you're exposed to a thing, and then this comes from I'll cite this pastor, Darius Daniels. He says exposure lets you know the possibility of a thing, which then can cause you to dream, to want to have, and work towards the acquisition. So some of these concepts, home ownership, preparation for home ownership, because even like we were saying, for what some of us pay in rent, we're paying the mortgage for the landlord and putting money in their pocket.
You sure that? Yeah, that's what it is.
But we sometimes we're just not aware, and we're not aware of how to put ourselves in position to be that.
I was gonna say, so even think about that, right? There's some preliminary requirements for home ownership.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So when you think about those things and you talk about it, you break it down, one thing for sure, you're gonna look at your credit.
They will.
Right? We'll see how well are you on making payments on time. Right?
You did what you said you was gonna do.
Right. And that's something that we should be talking about just in general as a community.
That's because it's not just about home. Your credit is just not about home ownership. Your credit impacts how much you pay for insurance.
Insurance.
It can impact if you got to put a down payment. What kind of deposit you might have to put on utilities.
Now, real talk.
It impacts more than approval or denial to buy a car or a house.
No, you know what? And I think growing up, sometimes we looked at credit as being a bad thing. I know my people used to say, if you ain't got the money to buy it, then you don't need it. Right. Which is understandable, right? And that applies in some principle. But the thing is, it's a way of utilizing credit, right? And as leverage, right? And I started working on, my credit probably a year ago, because I was always, cash is king. So I was
Right.
always kind of in that type of mindset. But then when I started, optimizing on secured loans and getting a couple credit cards and
Mhm.
keeping my utilization to 30%, I try to really kind of start building my credit up.
You're talking that
I
talk.
went, yeah, you know what I'm
You
saying?
talking that talk.
I went from like the lows what? It was like a 580. I had jumped like 100 points in like 4 or 5 months.
It don't have to take long.
And it don't take much.
It take
like,
work.
It take
and
work.
focus
It take little
and
work.
dedication.
And you gotta look at the credit reports because I had some stuff on there that I challenged.
Right.
Right. Big shout out to Gold's Credit Solution. I was able to challenge those things and then get some of that stuff that was on it that shouldn't have been on the first place, right? Like I had a whole cable bill that my people put in my name. I didn't even realize it was on there, but that stuff be on there, right?
Yeah.
The thing is though, I had to clean those things up, but then it gave me more of an understanding of, my credit score, right? Put me in position if I want to go get some things, right? I can do it, right?
You can
at a different rate, different
Yeah.
bracket, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me, right? You know what I'm saying? And and if I can be able to be educating my young children, educating young people just in general about the benefits of having good credit, even inquiring debt, right? Good debt.
Good debt,
right?
The right kind of debt.
The right kind of debt, right? And use it as an opportunity for you to be able to leverage your own capital based off the credit that you can receive based on your score. Right. So I'm building up business credit.
See there.
Oh yeah,
See there. And you're gonna have options.
I'm on. Oh yeah.
That's what you want in life.
Mm-hmm.
We all want options. We don't want anyone or anything to paint us into a corner where we don't have nothing to go, nowhere to go.
Yeah.
No, we want to be in the center of the room and decide: do I want to go left, right, forward, or back?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to be pinned into a corner.
No.
So, but as it relates to a lot of things available to us, being in a position where I've established and maintained my credit to such where, okay, now my decision is, do I accept or decline their offer? I mean,
that's a different way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, because and you're faced with a whole different set of challenges.
That's right.
When you know that, okay, I got good, my credit is where it needs to be. I got a little income coming in. Then you got to talk yourself out of not going to the dealership because you can't. No, I'm gonna be disciplined. My car's running like I needed to. No, it might not be.
That. I had to go.
Yeah, it might not be a 2024 yet.
Yeah,
but
come on,
it's doing what I needed to do.
Come on.
If I wait another year and a half, instead of getting the mid grade, I can go ahead and get the luxury edition.
Now you thinking that's a disciplined mindset, right?
But we got to develop that within our. Each of us individually have to say that's what I'm gonna be about. Which that's where I'll pivot a little bit and get to more of what we might want to talk about by way of my candidacy.
Come on now, talk to us.
When I take my seat.
Yeah, I hear they say when he take it, so that means they're speaking in the example. Claim.
When I take my seat, my position is I'm gonna be disciplined in this seat. I don't want to. I want to maintain the character that I know that I have, and not allow myself to even be in any way drawn out from that. So I understand it's a challenge because none of us like to be made to feel like we're gonna get talked to any kind of way.
No, you know what? I think when you saying like this city council needs to have a lesson in decorum. Right? It is okay to disagree with each other.
Absolutely.
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's gonna always agree on things. That's cool. Right? But it's how you go about it is what's going to determine your outcomes, right? If people are offended by stuff, right? And we have to get out into this situation of people feeling a certain type of way or we're trying to outsmart each other. The thing is this, right? You're on a board, at the end of the day, you all are working on behalf of moving that mission forward. So it ain't about just me and my people or my perspective. It's about, okay, how can we make this make sense? Just I'm only one vote, but how can I work in tandem with my colleagues to be able to make a difference for not this organization but this city?
See,
right?
And I think the beauty of a 9-person council is that you do have 9 different perspectives, not 9 different life experiences, 9 different thoughts that can come to the table to look at a situation or a resolution or what have you from a holistic perspective.
That's right.
We won't just see the same thing the same way, all 9 of us. And we have to be, I want to be open. I will be open to hearing, what am I missing?
So we kind of got an understanding of, the background. Your profession is in finance?
I'm currently in banking, and I'm a Community Reinvestment Act officer.
So when you're looking at city wards and you're looking at representation, right, you need to have vast experience. So coming from banking, finances,
but also having had that experience in human services,
having a human service, which is the big one, right?
Yeah.
Dealing with people and public administration. You need that type of input on that 9-city council person. And so what I look at it as, that's the diversity, right? So you can come from a different perspective and talk about, okay, well, these are some things in the industry that I'm working in. These are some things that we can take advantage of, just like how we were talking about housing.
Yeah.
Right? You can be like, all right, well, listen, if you need a part of housing is the lender, right? And then, underwriting, things of those nature. You'll be able to have those type of conversations when we're talking about getting people moving from renters into home ownership. And then also looking at how we can maybe potentially establish the Flint Land Bank. Because I think that's a big conversation that folks have been talking about. People like, all right, well, we need to have this. Eric was doing, he was actually, acquiring properties that way. Right? One time, the brother showed me like 18 properties that he acquired through this. So being able to be on that council, to be able to educate folks, but then also provide those type of structures, that's a benefit for the city. So we need that. Now, that's the background. So why would you put yourself in a situation like city council? And this is just a general question. Why would you put yourself in a situation like city council? And what gave you, I guess, the interest in saying, like, I'm going to run and serve my community?
Again, I realize now, looking back, that my heart and desire to help people was forever impacted with my mod experience. My running now is me accepting a call to service. I absolutely, I know that I have too much to offer, not to offer it.
That's deep.
I can't waste it. So I have to make at least an attempt to utilize. And you all heard me earlier say, when I take my seat. So I expect to be able to use this gifting in this format. When I was approached, I said, I was sort of, I don't know.
Like everybody did.
I don't know. But then, I talked to my wife.
Yeah.
And I also knew and know that to an extent, my calling is her calling, or at least some responsibility and support and understanding in a public calling could be some strays that she catch, as well as her calling is mine. So I support her as she supports me.
That's right.
And when I had the conversation with her about this, she very much has been and is in support to say, basically, what I said here a minute ago, you have too much in you not to offer. So why is because I'm accepting the call to service, and I'm ready to do that. I'm willing to do that. I feel I can be a good representative for every aspect of my life that I will be representing, because I'm not just representing the 9th Ward.
That's right.
I'm representing
Flint.
my family, my wife, my God.
That's right.
I when I sit in that seat, I'm gonna be sitting there understanding that I'm representing all of that.
Come on now. That's a phenomenal, outlook, right, on representation. Because a lot of times people might just think about, and people get into politics or, representatives for different reasons, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, as far as a servant leader, it's always to serve the people. And that has to be the top of the focus. That has to be right there. It has to, every action has to require that, right? Because you all are, as the co-equal branch of government, are responsible to establish policy, but then also vote on resolutions that's going to impact the lives of the residents here in the city of Flint. So you have to be thinking of it in that way. Every decision, every vote, my conversations, right, my collaborations, all have to go back to that ideology, right, of serving and working on behalf of the constituents. And that's a huge undertaking. So I commend you.
Yeah. Right? And as you're saying that, it causes me to have a thought to where I understand, and I do have understanding that we are that co-equal branch, and we approve resolutions that are presented, and most, from what I've witnessed here in the last few years, a lot of the work that the council has done has been approving resolutions presented.
That's right.
It hasn't been as much, we're going to establish an ordinance because we see a gap in an opportunity as a body to initiate something being done to better this situation. So I do want to see us bring to the table, works that in initiatives that we develop.
That's right.
In answer to some of the concerns that we're seeing in our communities.
I think that that is ultimately correct, right? It shouldn't just be on what's presented before you, but it's like, what can we do to strengthen internal control systems here, right, for the city? What can we do as far as establishing city ordinance that's a benefit to the people, right? What things are we being progressive on?
Right.
And I would say that would be the best way to go about it, because now they're not talking like that.
Yeah,
that's not what's happening. We so reactive about it.
Yeah, we
and it's just terrible.
We have to have a little bit better balance of the reactive versus the proactive.
It has to be,
and it's been heavily reactive.
Heavily. It's like they don't have. It's not a bashing. It's like,
no, it's not.
The thing is, like, no, but seriously, like, and I've been around, different communities. Right? I've seen what they're doing in Atlanta. I see how progressive that they're in LA. Shout out to Baba Akili. He's running for commissioner in LA. I see how they take the resources that they have in the city, and their whole objective is, how do we put on for the city, right? How do we establish small business? Are we even supporting the small businesses that's in our city? Because understand, that's the nucleus. If we can support small business and minority-led business, and we can open up doors for economic development, right? We living in a capitalistic country. We have to go ahead and put ourselves in position to gain capital.
Right.
And how are you doing that for residents? Not only just giving folks jobs, it's not trying to find employment, but what are we doing to generate economic drivers for our region?
Right.
That has to be the dialogue. That has to be one of the focuses, are we looking at public health? We used to have a public health director here. Are we looking at the public health? Are we attracting new business here to the city, right? Because if we was bringing in a flow of income, that'll go off into our tax bracket. We talked about home ownership, which goes into our educational institutions. Then we start looking at things in a city that we are causing, generating based off of the talent that we have on board. We're not waiting on ARPA dollars to be coming kicked around. That was a one-time deal. We're not waiting on people to give us a grant to be able to do the work. Nah, listen, we creating earned income based off of what we got going on right now, and we establishing what we want to see in the future.
Yeah,
that's being visionary, buddy.
Yeah,
that's the balance. When I was in Egypt, they talked about the Ma'at. You said balance. Ma'at is the balance.
Okay.
So for every reaction, we need to be proactive. So we should be reacting to the issues that we have going on with crime, education, city business, right? We got all these different things that we got problems. But then also, what are we going to bring new? What new industries are we looking to tap in? Just like Flint was a GM town. Right. We was, vehicle city. Right. Why weren't we progressive of saying like, all right, well, we're going to create EV batteries? You know what I'm saying? We're going to be looking at technology moving forward. We did manufacturing already. The next wave is now they got hybrid cars. Are we getting into that? Why did we transition into those type of industries?
So, and I guess
that's just a general question.
No, and to that, if the question I have, or what it caused me to think is, I don't know if part of the challenge as to why we didn't go that way is because was Flint the brain trust or was Flint the labor?
Judging off of what was going on, Flint was the labor.
Okay.
He was the labor class.
Which means we're going to be told what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
See, that what had we been the brain trust, then that development or the thought for the battery would be done here.
I agree.
Versus the brain trust being someplace else and they saying, well, we're going to take the labor portion to this place because it's going to make us the most money or the most financial sense. So there needs to be some balance between us just saying, okay, we'll receive your labor portion only. And then while we're doing that, we'll give you this, that, and the other. There got to be a balance in what we give for what we get.
That's right.
Because I'm challenged by the thought of giving so many years of taxes to a business to come in.
I'm baffled.
While every year my real estate tax bill goes up, and we still operating in a deficit.
And we giving all the proceeds away. We giving 50-year tax abatements. That's bad business. Any way you look at it. I don't care if this company is a Fortune 500, whatever, man. Listen, you got to make some type of. We in a city. We in the option of doing. Come to the time. It has to be some mandates of how there's some community benefit.
But you got to. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
We were vehicle city. There's infrastructure in place already here. Both infrastructure. The infrastructure that is tangible by way of the literal infrastructure, logistics, expressways going north, south, east, and west, all right here. We have railway. We have a lot of things that make it easy for a business that's going to do manufacturing to come here. We also have human capital.
That's right.
We can shorten training and learning curves because we have people here that already have a lot of those skills and experiences.
Right.
So that should be part of the attraction to why Flint.
Of course.
And not just because we're going to give you 10, 20, 30, 50 years, reduced tax.
That's all they banking on.
We
know that these people going to give
50-year,
100-year tax abatements, so we're going to take the business there and we're going to make money hand over fist.
It has to be something more than that. Unless unless part of the stipulation was something like, and all your employees have to live in Flint, so that we get at least the income tax.
That's right. That's how you would think about it.
But if we're saying, yeah, we're gonna bring 100 new jobs, but only 25% of those people live in Flint, so we're not getting the income tax from those employees.
Not at all.
And we're not getting either real estate tax on the building.
We just giving stuff away.
So some of that negotiation, I'm not privy to actually how the negotiations are working, and I don't know how much exposure we'll have. I don't think we'll have exposure to those negotiations as a council person. But once it comes to the table, then we can ask our questions and try to gain some understanding. And those are some questions that I really want to get my arms around, both as a council representative, but even just as a taxpayer and resident here in the city of Flint. Help, as they say, make it make sense, because it don't make sense from the outside looking in. To me,
you don't even have to be at a city council meeting to understand that just don't make sense. We giving something away for free, 50 years. Ain't none of us gonna be here by the time that stuff come back out. It's like, what sense does that make for people living in here now? Right? I understand we build for the future, but like, what are we doing for the short term? Right? So those are the questions that we're gonna be expected to be asked when it comes before council, right? Because y'all got the last say so. Yeah, it come before it. And so they want to be able to answer those questions, and it should be pleasing to the residents, right? It got to be that.
Yeah, the residents, we deserve to understand and know, and have our representatives at the table.
And that's the thing. So when we voting, and I know we'll be coming out too, because we have this special election. So the special election is in May.
May 7th, excuse me. Tuesday, May 7th.
So if you have not registered, we are calling everybody to get registered. We are voting at 13% here in the city of Flint. That is not enough to be able to get good business in. That is not a pure representation of the folks and the population size of this city. So we got to start looking at how we're going to boost that up to 50, 60, 70%. So we're going to need it first. Everybody get your license together, right? Make sure you got some ID. That's one of the first things you got to do. And then go down to the Secretary of State. Make sure that you are registered to vote. See, listen, this is the thing about us doing for self. We're not waiting on folks. We're not just expecting people to just do stuff for us. We are getting proactive by putting the right people in place as far as leadership goes. And then we are staying connected to them by the hip to be able to ensure that our voice is being heard. So we got to do our part. We want to be a progressive community. We want to have parks up to par. We want to have businesses flowing. We want to have 1,000 people walking down MLK Street. We got to be able to start orchestrating those missions, and we got to start being on the front end about it. We have to not only just go vote, but the real work happens after the vote. We have to participate as delegates. We have to participate at these city council meetings. We have to be on committees, right? And so these are the ways that you start being astute to what's going on in your city, how you be aware of what's going on. Read those resolutions on the agenda so you know what's coming down the pipeline. But then also talking with your representatives and saying, hey, what's up with this, right? I'm a small business person, right? I'm a small business, minority-led business. My whole thing is be looking like, how's the economic development working for us, right? We don't want to hear about all these RFPs about what's coming down the pipeline, and I ain't know, let alone yourself or anybody around you getting those grants, opportunities, right? Or loans, right? Something has to change. And so when we talking about moving Flint forward, it's gonna start with the people that's in position. So city council is a very important role. I know we get laughed at, people watching stuff on TikTok and think that it's a bunch of mess and whatever the case. Even when I go around, whatever, right? People talking about the council, like, what I'm saying? I'm like, man, now listen, them people are over the livelihood of people. So it has to be some type of standard there, right? And, we lost a brother, Good Mays, Eric Mays, was a true fighter for the people, right? That was a real good brother who really cared, right? So we got voids to fill. And so I just really want us to take this serious when we talk about going out to vote. And you need to participate and help on people's campaign. I learned a lot, Brother Jarrett, when I was working on people's campaign. I understand how maps work. I understand going to the precinct. I served as a delegate, right? Understand to get out the vote, right? Understand about talking about the issues, right? And galvanizing around the issue, not about I want this, and that, but what is the issue, the commonalities in this, right? What we all want trash to be picked up on time. We all want, you know, these blighted areas be knocked down in like some nice areas, right? We want our city services, right? Those things, stuff that you really didn't even know nothing about unless you was engaged in it. So I advise everybody just to really get involved with your local representative. Each one of us has one, right? Have a contact on them, right? Connect with them. If there's some questions or some information that you need to get, make sure you connect, right? And you need somebody who's gonna answer the phone, like Eric. Eric was always answering the phone, always on call, right?
Right.
Not even if you have to live in the first ward, the brother was trying to check in. He always sent people who wanted, some information about housing or from the Flint housing. He always sent them over. And so, I knew it was becoming to be able to follow through because he'd be calling back again if I didn't check in or something. So, and that's important.
Yeah.
Right? Those are your checks and balances.
Yeah. See, and I want to sort of piggyback on the voting part, and I'm gonna take you behind the curtain. This was my first time actually, being an active part of any kind of campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start talking with your strategists, and part of this also has to do with being able to maintain your budget and all of that.
That's right.
For example, in the 9th Ward, we got the list, and there were upwards of 8,900 registered voters, right?
How many is it in that ward?
Well, they were using still, you got to remember, this special election is sort of tricky because in order to qualify to vote in this special election, you would have had to have been in the ward
prior to redistricting.
Prior to redistricting.
Yeah.
So that's one of the tricky parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking about strategizing and having to be efficient in the use of finance while still trying to message, and you start looking at things like, okay, so the last time the person that got this seat was elected, they got elected into this seat with less than 300 votes.
How many you said is over there?
Over 8,000 registered voters. 300 votes.
Right.
So what does that begin to make you start to do math like? Because, okay, if I do a mailer to 8,000 registered voters at 20-something cents per piece of mail just to get the mail out, not to mention the printing, you're looking at you're looking at about $5,000. Okay. I want to get the name out.
Which is pretty ticky though.
Yeah, I want to get the name out, but I got to be smart about how I use this money.
Right.
So I tell you what, instead of sending one to every registered voter, let's see if we can get a list of who voted in the last election. So I said that to say this. Even as a registered voter, when you don't cast that vote, that increases the likelihood of your vote being discounted and you not being considered.
Come on now. Come on.
So we have to make sure that we use that vote so that somebody has to think about it.
You know what? I think you said some pretty fascinating things, right? When you're talking about doing the research, because you want to do the research as far as, who's voted in the area, right? Understanding that you had to live in the district lines prior to redistricting, right? Because that was a big hang up with the recalls that were taking place.
Right.
You was getting signatures. They might have been bad because they're in the new lines.
Yeah.
So those things have to be a part of the strategy. And so the war room play. But that information had to be dissected. And if you got 8,000 people that live in that area, in the 9th Ward,
right,
8,000 registered voters.
8,000 registered voters.
And only 300 came out to...
Only 300 for the casted a ballot for the winner.
And meaning that, it was probably 2-3 other folks that was running. So they said we probably like 1,000 people voted.
Now, and again, that wasn't at that time. That wasn't the only thing on the ballot, and that's the other thing.
It didn't matter.
But
people got to vote.
Yeah, but no, my point is they may have voted up ticket, but by the time they got to the local government,
they was wiped out.
They yeah. So
they did all that.
But we have to understand, and that's
all that straight ticket stuff. We can't listen.
Not just that, but again, the civics lessons that we don't necessarily get in our K through 12 system has to be. It has to be probably modeled first by our parent.
That's right.
Or parents, so that the children see us engage, and then that will hopefully stir something up in them.
Come on now.
Now, this is the other thing I wanted to say because you again triggered this thought.
Okay.
You made a very correct and telling statement about Councilman Mays is that he made himself available to the residents of the city of Flint. I absolutely want to model that. I will model that. To which I'll even share my phone number here now. 810-230-4426. Again, 810-230-4426. Now, I say that for this reason. So, I've been contacted at this point by a few people to interview whatever.
Yeah, his phone number.
You say what?
His phone number. What's
810-230-4426. Yes, 230-4426. I've done a couple of had a couple of conversations with people, and they ask me, well, what are the things you running on? Well, that's just it. What's important to me might not be important to you. I need to hear from you to understand what I need to be running on.
Right.
Because I had a conversation with prospective or soon-to-be constituents, and I asked this one question. Because we hear about blight. What does blight mean to you? What does blight mean? Because we all have different definitions of it. It means different things to different people.
Grass, it can be abandoned properties. It
could be that
trash on the block, right? It can mean neglecting the neighborhood. It can mean all types of things.
So if I'm going to have a blight initiative, I need to understand what it means to the people in my residence.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, my experience, I could live on the same street as you, but be 2 blocks down, and my experience is totally different than yours.
Right.
My trash can may end up across the street every week. Yours, somebody might walk yours back up to your door. So you might not have an experience with trash. The trash company. It could be everybody on my block cutting their grass.
Yeah.
And with you being on the corner, every morning you picking up bags from out in front of your yard because when people bend that corner, they throwing something out the window.
Yeah, I got cameras out there now. I am definitely checking balances. I'm pulling license places up.
See,
don't throw trash. You're right, man.
But it means different things to different people. So I want to know. I want to hear from you. What are the things in, whether it be initially or primarily I represent. I cast the vote for the 9th ward, but I do that also in partnership with the other 8 to come to one decision. But I also need to know what is it I need to be
looking into.
Where should I place my focus?
And I think that so for residents, right? You got somebody willing to hear your concerns. You have to follow through on that. Right?
I've been returning calls.
You got to have conversations with folks so then that you know what's going on. Like you said, black can mean a whole array of different things. You can say, yeah, I want blight elimination. Okay. What does that mean, though? Right? Just like we say, we need economic development. Okay, that could be a gamut of different things, right? What do you want? And you get more specific. Like, okay, well, we really need loans and grants to small businesses.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But economic development, you might be talking about all type of things, bringing business to the town, right? Activating the businesses that we do have, the sectors, right? So I understand when you're talking about being direct, and some things that we have to learn as constituents, as people, we have to be very direct with our elected officials, right? And then we have to learn to ask the right questions, right? A lot of times, people they want to know something, but you may be asking the wrong person.
Right.
Or you may, frame the question, confusing, right? We have to be very direct. We have to say, like, okay, I'm hungry, I'm ready to eat Arby's sandwich chicken right now. Right? You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got it. Brother on Arby's, chicken sandwich. Got you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We gotta be, as voters, we have to be intelligent voters. Let's be educated voters, right? Let's be an educated community. You heard what the brother says. Civics is not being taught in schools. So you're gonna have a whole generation of people that don't understand civics. It's probably that contributes to reason why the voter turnout is low. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real thing.
So just, and I don't necessarily mean to cut you off,
no,
but this is the thing, hear people say all government is local, and you really don't understand how that works until something works against you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just a quick example here in the last couple of years, and I don't mean to get into the discussion about abortion. So when the Supreme Court made their ruling and pushed it back to the states, that's local government. So that is about who we cast a vote for at the local level, not just the president.
Right.
Because the president, might have lobbied for and may ultimately sign a bill or whatever that's brought to him or her.
Right.
But those decisions that really touch us day in, day out are happening at local levels.
That's right.
The $94 million that came here is being handled at a local level.
That's right.
Those are the people that we put in place that are determining, that's a safe word, that are determining how those dollars are used. Local level.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that best we can, we understand who we're putting in place. And for as much as either we can engage with them, interact with them, or know them, understand how they're going to act and react once they get to that seat.
See, I think, and that be the telltale for us. A lot of times, we give people, and I know this has been a question. So I know folks will get in position, right, and forget the people that brought them to the party. We've seen that over and time again. We had a conversation about this just recently with Maurice. So Maurice Davis, he had the community was supporting him at one time. He was the blues man, right? And then next thing you know, this guy goes up and goes to a Trump rally and be with Pence, and you serve a 90% black Democratic ward. That was political suicide. And I just use that example is because sometimes you can be, supporting folks, you can be uplifting them, campaign for them, right? The same thing with Sheldon Neely, right? And I'm saying these because these are personal experiences. You can campaign with a person, you can, try to help a person get in position, and then they get to those positions, then they forget all about you, right? They forget that you helped them get to the place that they're at. And they feel like they've made it. They feel like they don't have to deal with you per se, or they don't have to make good on the promises that they told you. And we want to be, I guess, now it's like in blood, right? You know what I'm saying? Listen, we helping folks get in position,
we want to make sure that you stay in position, but at the same time, we want to make sure that you're working on behalf of the people. How can we expect that from you?
The majority of my life, I have been in positions where I've had responsibility to the care of someone else's asset.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what it means to sit in a fiduciary seat,
Mm-hmm.
meaning this ain't mine.
Come on now.
I'm just making sure don't nothing happen to it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and again, most of my, I feel that's why, again, when I say that I'm answering the call to service,
mm-hmm.
My life has been about positioning me for this now, whether it be the work I've done, whether it be the way I was raised, whether it be some things that I was involved in work and outside of work. It
mm-hmm.
all has shaped me to understand what a responsibility like this means.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when I cast that vote, I'm not spending my money.
Right. Maybe money.
It's not my, and I don't say that good or bad. I don't say that to say, oh, whatever, it's not my money. I'm saying that to say, if it was a decision about my money, maybe I would be a little bit more flippant and just do whatever, whatever. But because I know that I'm doing this for the benefit of somebody else, I take extra precaution.
Come on now.
I don't want it to be said legitimately by anybody
mm-hmm.
after I take my seat, I made a bad call voting for him because he just is not what he claimed what he presented himself to be.
You know, Flint is a funny style town, man. They be doing it.
No, but that's why I say legitimately. I don't want nobody I don't want to do anything that legitimately someone can say he is not what he presented himself to be.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that. And I'm gonna be very careful about putting myself. See, yeah, I've had times in life to where I had to learn from the mistake of what position did you put yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could have made a better decision. That it did look like something different than what it was because you decided to do it a different way. I've learned from some of that,
you're right.
And I'm determined not to put myself in those positions.
You know what? And that takes humility, right? What's going on, Brother Javante? Hey, everybody, please like the show. If you haven't had the opportunity, please like the show. If you can share it out, we greatly appreciate it. We appreciate everybody who following along with Fli-City Blackout. Appreciate everybody who tuning in, listening to Mr. Johnson Jarrett, who is running for Flint City Council in the 9th Ward. We appreciate everybody who's coming out to vote, right? Who want to be a part of the change, the resurgence here in this community. And we want to make sure that you are aware of what's going on. We have a special election, and it's May 7th. I'm sorry. May 7th, we should drop that in the chat too. May 7th, we'll be having a special election here in the city of Flint. It'll be, I think that's the only thing on the ballot, right?
It's only for the 9th Ward, and it's
right.
the only thing on the ballot.
So it's just only be for folks in the 9th Ward, right?
9th Ward.
That will be able to cast that vote and that ballot. So be sure to show up, right? Make sure you're out there. Make sure you tell a friend. If you know somebody that live in the area, then please ensure that they are aware that Brother Jarrett is on the ballot. He is definitely looking to make some change, be a strong voice for the community, right? Coming with experience, with banking industry background, and also human resource, right? We talked about that earlier. So be sure to make sure you tap in. Make sure you like the show. Be able to share it, right? Get the information out there. We greatly appreciate it. We got a question from Brother Javante Houston. What's going on, Brother Javante? Javante is a young brother. We got a lot of young people on the set, so they be tuning in, tapping in, making sure that they get a greater understanding of politics as is.
He's got a question.
Mhm.
What about the schools and education for the younger generation? Thanks for your question, brother Javante. We need to see you in the office here soon.
From the way I see it, one of the biggest challenges, particularly, and there's sort of two different systems to look at, I believe, as it relates to public schools. One is, Flint community schools, and then the charter schools. And what I don't know if has really been understood about some of the shift from Flint community schools to the charter schools is, as we have lost residents and the number of even students enrolled, it impacts the federal and state dollars that are received for the school system to operate from.
That's right.
And I believe that has greatly impacted the quality of the education that our youth are getting and the resources available in order to support them. I believe too that one of the things that we really, and myself included, need to make sure that we are doing for our children, grandchildren, what have you, is reinforcing support at home, making sure that we are part of their homework activity, making sure that we are promoting literacy by way of whether it be our infant and toddlers, reading to them, then at a point where they are beginning to reading with them, having some math classes in the home, having our own home economics at home. Let's talk about money in the house. We don't, it's not the day when I was growing up where my mother would be sitting at the table with the checkbook. We don't write checks like that anymore. But even introducing the concept of bill payment, what it takes to run the house, and that type of thing. So I believe that we should at home be complementing the education where it's needful, and if by chance there's a need to supplement the schoolwork. Now, and I want to make sure I'm clear on what the difference between complementing and supplementing is. Supplementing is where there is a deficiency, filling in the gap. Complementing to say they're getting, but I just want to add something to it.
Come on now.
All right. So it'd be like a person who don't have shoes. You would supplement the fact that they don't have shoes by providing them shoes. It'd be like brother having on a tie, and I help to straighten his tie. I'm complimenting the tie he already has. So I think that there's some of that also can take place. I'm somewhat empathetic with the situation that these administrators have, in, like I say, with specifically the fiscal challenges that they have, trying to make these systems run and operate on lesser funds than would be ideal to keep everything going.
Now, you said, even when you talk about declining enrollment in school, that each student received a certain base, right, for the school year. So we have the decline in enrollment, then we're not going to be having the budget to be able to bring in, maintenance to school, provide extracurricular activities, even ensure that we got the proper books up to scale, right? All those different things play a part. And even myself, man, I have, my children go to Grand Blanc, and I be wanting them to, I don't know if I'm doing them a disservice or not, because I want them to get the education, but then also I want them to understand what being a part of their community. I grew up down the street from my school, from my elementary, which was Scott Elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whittier and Central, we walked to school, right? So it was just a certain pride about going to school in our neighborhood. Right? We all went to this school. We all got together in the morning, walked, dribbled the basketball, went to school.
Yeah.
That was amazing, right? The children out there, they're not experiencing that.
No,
they're not getting none of that.
They know how to ride a bus or get dropped
I
off.
I got to drop them off. I mean, ain't no bus coming over there. I'm like, man, see, that's the thing, right? But I guess we had a crossroad. We need to decide, are we going to reinvest into our public school system? Are we going to enroll our students, our children back into school?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to hire talented educators that's going to be educating our youth? Are we going to own the properties by the school so that way we build a tax base for the school right in our neighborhood? Right. So we got some real decisions to make. We can't just neglect it and be like, oh, well, you know what? The school system is going down and we moved out to Grand Blanc or we send our children out to Flushing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to think about it like this. What is our investment back into our public school education and system?
Right.
And then what is this public school should tell us, this is how we're going to honor having our students and enrollment back. It should be a drive. We're going to go get teachers. We're not going to have this issue or discord on school board, right? You got to have all these things. Everybody going to have to do something to change the school system in Flint. It's just not going to happen by us doing nothing.
Well, and that's where there's going to have to be a different level of, I want to use the word commitment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just think about where we are as a society. DeWaun, just think about it. Think about it. We place such emphasis in our society on entertainment.
We do.
So
in
we'll
sports.
have an athlete sign a 5-year, $300 million contract to play ball.
Yeah.
But the teachers that were in the K-12 system while they were growing up are challenged in their salary at what, somewhere
30,
between
40,000? Yeah, I know. It's a discrepancy.
So that being said, where
it's crazy.
Yeah, you can have a heart. You can have a heart to educate. Yet you got a mortgage, or you gonna have to pay some. You got to live somewhere. You got to drive some. You got to
buy food. All this stuff.
Inflation
is high.
We also need to look at the shift of how we prioritize our dollars as a community. How we use even our own budgets. Listen. My wife and I had to have a conversation in our house. It's just the two of us, me and her. Our children grown. Me and her. She worked out of the house 8 hours a day, and my schedule now affords me the opportunity at times to work from home.
Okay.
I'm not at home much in the evening. We don't watch a lot of TV, but when we get our
time for the dummy box.
When we get our Xfinity bill, it's $250.
And we ain't watching nothing.
$250 for cable.
Just cut it off, get a fire stick.
Wi-Fi and our security system. We had to take a look at how are we prioritizing and using our dollars. Entertainment at $80 a month to have these channels we're not watching.
Come on, man.
Okay, Xfinity, I need you to cut that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, just take the whole, come get the box.
I had to take the box back because they'll charge you for that reason. You end up with a collection.
You know what I'm saying?
You end up with a collection.
Hurry up, too.
But what I'm saying is the priority that
keep the Wi-Fi
that we place on entertainment.
Yeah.
Where some of those funds need to be diverted to those services that really are essential in life, but we take for granted. Yeah. We don't too much care for law enforcement until it's us who got violated.
Yeah. But then like you said, we have to go ahead and prioritize.
We have to prioritize.
We have to look at, okay, how we spending this budget. We should look at it. Okay, well, we got X amount of dollars coming in.
Hey,
okay, what is our top priorities? Is it attract students back into the district? Is it paying phenomenal teachers a livable wage?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Salary? Is it investing into infrastructure? Right?
And
Do we want to look like how them other schools in the outer county look like mini colleges?
Right.
Do we want to have our students come in and feeling really good about the schools that they attend? Right?
Right.
Those things should be a conversation. And then, all right, now we can kind of allocate the dollars towards, okay, we're going to invest into the property. We're going to invest into enrollment drives. We're going to take rolling out the plan to the community so we get some buy-in for parents, right? We want to make sure the school board meetings is full of folks, right?
But we also do realize that, part of that might be hampered by us giving away tax dollars to attract business.
So it's a tool, right?
Again, when we do these different tax breaks, it plays a part in us being able to provide funding for our schools.
So then that way you had a conversation with council and school board in the city of Flint. And listen, we need to have a task force to get this straightened out, right? Right now we lose on the educational front. Students are leaving us every year, right? We down to probably about 2,000 students throughout the district, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then y'all giving away these tax babies that's tearing up the neighborhood and ain't bringing no money into the city.
Got it.
Right?
We have to look at or at least ask the question to help to start to have the conversation about, okay, so how do we fill the gap that's created here?
Yeah.
Okay, we're creating the gap here. How are we going to fill it from someplace else?
Yeah. No, I think that's real power building. That's real dialogue. That's real conversation. Like, because each sector kind of cross, right? Yeah, you explained it with the schools and city business. It all play a part.
Mm-hmm.
We all a part of this community.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be strategic how we are looking at the next short term 5 years, the next 20 years, and next 50 years. Right? And that's something that we have to create a community plan. So I've always talked about, man, we need to have a community plan. We need to be talking about all this stuff should be in there, how we moving forward on multiple different levels, right? So that's a dialogue question that can be had across those different sectors, from those representatives. I think that is something that we definitely need to tap in. I got another question for you, but this is from Brother Reggie Field. What's going on, Brother Reggie? Dr. Flynn is out there, man. He used to actually live in the Ninth Ward.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has a lot of friends and family over there.
Okay.
Right? He asks, why is Mr. Jarrett running? What are his priorities for the ward? Several of my former neighbors and residents are in or reside in the Ninth Ward.
So again, the reason I'm running now,
he might have came on.
Yeah, that's fine. I am answering the call to service. I have a heart to help and to want to be a help to this community.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge that there has been a lot of gifting that I have, and for me not to use it would be a waste. You say this is
Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with him, I can say to whom much is given, I acknowledge much is required.
Right.
So I and that I have Dr. Flynn. My grandfather, Piathan Massey, which I believe you'll know that name. I'm one of his grandchildren, and how my grandfather is about or was about trying to help to be about a difference in the community. So I've inherited some of that from the Massey side, as well as from the Jarrett side, as I am, as my uncle say, I would be Effie's great grandbaby boy. So
right.
Just really doing what was answering the call to my gifting is the reason why. And my priorities are priorities that I am looking to establish with the help of those that I will be representing. So I'm very much interested in what the concerns of those constituents are. Because as I shared earlier, and even as I've been having conversation, the example of blight. What blight might mean to me on my block could be different than what blight means to somebody else on their block. For example, blight could mean grass not getting mowed on my block, but it could mean a home that is abandoned on another block where there are issues of crime and other things taking place. So really trying to understand what are the concerns of the constituents so that I can work to address those, and not just because either, it looks good on a flyer just to put blight, to put crime, to put that, but really to understand what are the issues in the area where I will be representing, and then to be able to take those to the larger group, to the council, to identify what are the common themes throughout the city. Let's see if we can knock those out across the entire map, and then look at those other projects where it's onesies, twosies, it's this here but not there, and see where and how those can be addressed as well.
I think that was well. That's actually well said. So and then he had a follow-up comment where it was city council doesn't control educational policy and or resources in Flint.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I think, even with that, like, it could be some collaboration efforts, right? Even if a certain sector doesn't control the business of what another sector is doing. I think when you're talking about properly planning together, right, you can say, hey, the business that you all are doing in the city is affecting our educational system, right? You know what I mean? Like, we're responsible for our educational policies, but city business is somewhere indirectly, directly, is impacting, our educational policies and institutions. So it's dialogue that need to be taking place, and conversation that could be able to share light, provide insight, and how to better position both sectors.
Yeah, but and that's a excellent point. The fact that we don't shape those policies directly, yet indirectly we do support and will support the efforts of the school systems.
That's right. Okay, so we got another question. What are your top 3 goals for the Ninth Ward?
What I want to see is personally I want to personally execute on everything that I say I'm going to do and commit to doing. I want the residents to feel good about their choice in me, and I want to serve to help to meet the needs of those that live in the Ninth Ward and across the city. Again, it's not enough for me or it's not at all that I am wanting to be there to serve myself. I really would rather do something like The Wiz and be able to be behind a curtain, do my work, and not have to have my name or face or even my voice heard. I don't care about that. I do, though, want to do the work on behalf of those residents and do the part that I believe I can do in helping to bring about change. Now, I'm not coming in any way represented as if I am the difference. I'm not going to be the difference in the city of Flint. I do, though, want to help to make a difference, and as many a differences as I can.
I think that was well said. It's not like looking at being a savior or anything.
I didn't even want to use that word. That was a word I thought, but I didn't want to use that word. I'm not here for that. That's not me.
But that's real too.
Right.
People can respect that. Like, I'm coming to be an assistance. I'm coming to be a help. Right. Like I said, things just don't happen. Ain't never gonna change overnight. It didn't take us a day to get here.
Right.
But if we all roll up our sleeves and put the work in now and commit ourselves to sweat equity and not waiting on other people to come do this for us and really, plan and be strategic, put the experience in where it's needed, then, things don't shake out. We shouldn't even be having these conversations 10, 20 years from now. It's like equating what I say to like my son, like, it would be crazy for y'all to be still talking about Black Lives Matter 50 years from now. Like, we didn't do nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it would feel like. Like, we didn't make advancements for folks right now. Like, that's what's not going on. Because all the work and effort should be going towards changing the circumstance. It should be creating a better quality of life for us all, right? That's what people who are elected to do now. The city shouldn't be going backwards. There ain't no way we should be moving backwards. We should be always looking at how we looking at forward mobility. What things have we changed in the last year? I am sick and tired of these same council folks that be coming in and just be like, it's like, man, like, this is worse than what we had just a minute ago. Brother Roberts, didn't we just have this conversation recently? Isn't this council group that's set up right now?
Yeah.
This was worse than what we had Kate Fields and all them in there. It's like, I don't know, we just missing something.
Change chairs.
It just change people, but
chairs the same.
The chair's the same. The mindset, the mentality is still there. It's like we are looking for a complete overhaul. Yeah. We got a few talented people that's on city council right now. We are looking for a change, a difference. We can't wait another 7 years. It's just not in us. We need that to happen first day.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very involved in the process, the selection process, right? We have you coming in the 9th. We have Jan Marie Arbin coming in the 7th. And potentially, there's some recalls taking place right now. I want to say the second ward failed, but the third ward is on again. We looking for people who are not looking for self-gratification. We're looking for people who can work well in a team. We are looking for people to have some ideas, but based it on the needs of the community. And we need people to get activated yesterday. You know what I'm saying? That's what is so important about this race. That's what's so important. We need city leadership at the Barrett office. We need city leadership at our state representative. We don't even have a constituent service office here in the city of Flint. So if you want us to get some information from the state, who you gonna ask? Who you gonna talk to? Right? We ain't not hold meetings or functions about none of that. We ain't even talking about the water crisis no more. 10 years. We just had Mama Claire on talking about the 10-year commemoration. And it's not 10 years of celebrating the water crisis. It's saying this is 10 years, man. 10 years of nobody being held accountable, ain't nobody received a dime. And our children have been negatively impacted by it. Well, people are tired.
One thing that I am and will continue to be careful to do, and I want to do is I want to thank those that are serving for their service.
Right.
And I don't want to besmirch any of them in any way. I intend to come and where we agree, wonderful, we agree.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have disagreement, it's a disagreement. It's not going to be a fight. It's not going to be an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I think differently about this than you.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that you have the right and see it differently. Now, I may ask you to help me to understand what it is you see that I don't.
Which is cool.
Because if there's, I recognize I'm not omniscient in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So help me to see what I may be missing. And then we go from there. Not every decision that I make, even with, my best effort and thought, it might not wind up playing out to be the best decision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do the best that I know to do, given what I have to work with. And a lot of what we are going to have to work, what we do have to work with, and what I want to make sure that best I get is good information.
Mm.
So there is and will be a need on my part to make sure that I'm doing the due diligence that I can, while again taking up the business of the city of Flint. So I am going to be looking for information to be provided from the sources and resources where it is required, prior to meetings and doing the due diligence and committee meetings and those type of things, such that we know, and I know that I'm casting a vote as informed as I can be about a matter.
Come on now. I think that's commendable. Brother Roberts, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
Yeah,
You too, Brother Rick?
There's a few things as far as you said that you're going to come in with pretty much a clean slate and going to work on being a positive element. Now, are you working to do some due diligence so you can be very clear about some of the strife that has been plaguing the last two administrations, as far as especially dealing with, as you guys talked about earlier, but the water is one big thing. And then how do you think you're going to be able to work with maybe unifying or bringing in a brush of fresh air that you can work across some personalities to maybe help get the residents' needs met? Because that's what we are facing. The residents are not getting their needs met because there's so much politicking going on or grandstanding. So had you thought anything about that or strategizing about any kind of thinking as far as, I understand you're going to do your due diligence, but there is some deep-seated pathologies that's taking place in our city. And for us to move forward, how are you going to try to work to engage that?
Shortly after accepting this call, I was led to the scriptures, Proverbs 29. I feel like the whole 29th chapter of Proverbs speaks to how we should be acting and reacting when we're in public service. And there's a verse there that says, "A fool uttereth his whole mind. A wise man keeps it until afterwards." So my approach when things are getting contentious, when things are starting to get personal, and even when things might be hurled at me that might be personal, I cannot respond in the same way. And that's what at times it feels like we're seeing is, somebody said something 2 resolutions ago, and I gotta have a retort because I'd already spoken. So I don't have another round. But somebody threw a last jab because they were the last speaker, so they threw a jab. And now 2 resolutions later, I still ain't forgotten. I gotta come back and I gotta say something for the rest of the night. That's not. I can't buy into that. And then what I'm trusting is I will be just what you alluded to, and do the best to keep the perfume on that fresh air that I'm bringing. I don't want to soil that freshness. So I'm gonna do best I can to maintain that freshness in the air. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm gonna look to approach it. And for me, as much as I can keep it just that simple, Jonathan, just don't overcomplicate. Don't buy in. You know, keep as they say, the main thing. The main thing is you're here to do the work of those that sent you.
Come on now.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's clearly what it's going to take. Now, in your background as banking, you have worked with, I imagine you have experience working with diverse or a group of people to work on a goal.
Right.
Now, some of your studying probably would afford you. Are you going to be thinking about how to move the council, as you said, that sweet fragrance, where we don't have to be down there for 14,000 hours?
Yeah,
now, do you think
that's
that,
ridiculous?
just ask the question. So even in banking, you guys, I don't know, because I've never been in banking, but you guys may have worked on different projects, and then when you guys get to the shareholders, or however you guys have it set up, that you guys got some things mapped out that the shareholders understand that we're going to move this to the next level, so the rubber can meet the road where the residents are receiving what they need to receive. So have you thought anything about what you experienced going down there, sitting down there?
See, what I know about me is, I can be long-winded.
Oh, okay.
I can be, but I'm also understanding how better to be concise and to the point. Again, some things I don't need to speak to, especially just to hear. Well, I ain't gonna say to hear myself speak. I wanted to say just to hear myself speak. When I have a question that I believe that I need answered, or if there is something that I think I see that I believe would add value to the conversation, then I'll speak. But otherwise, to take a round just because I have a round available to me, if I don't have anything to add or offer, the Ninth Ward council person doesn't have to speak, just to be on the record.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna not speak when there's something that needs to be said that will add value. That will add.
I think that's what we're plagued with. So you can be clear. I think many of the council, other than Mr. Mays, with his political science degree, and then passing the bar the first time, no disparagement, but there is factual understanding to having a real understanding with policy and procedures. And I think we are in a depth of that qualification on the council right now, because I think some of the people are masking. That's why we get a lot of confusion, because they're masking what they don't know. They don't know the charter. So if you're not really familiar with the charter and how things are supposed to go for a municipality, then a lot of times you are influenced by whoever's, I don't want to say influence you based on trying to get your project in your ward pushed through, but I think that's a lot of what's going on.
Okay. I am willing to learn.
Okay.
I want to learn. When I don't know, again, I'll ask the question, but I don't want to just talk my way through to sound intelligent.
Okay.
Because in my mind, somebody is out there listening and say, you don't even know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Somebody now, some of us we can fluff some stuff to make it sound like. And this is one thing.
People know what's going on.
This is one thing that I understand.
I got an idea what you're talking about, but I know you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I understand. There's a difference between answering a question and addressing a question.
Come on, man. All that old fluff talk, we don't got time.
There's a difference, and best I can, I'm gonna stay away from addressing questions, meaning talking around them and not answering.
Right.
Did you go left or right? Well, I went roundabout, and I eventually what wound up happening was and I never told you if I went left or right.
In a roundabout way.
In a roundabout way.
And that's politics 101.
I want to keep. I want to do better than that. Politics 101.
Yeah, man.
But this is the other thing, and I say I wanna. I was talking to a young future constituent a couple of days ago, and I can, I'm asking them to call me so they can come to know who I am and I can express. And I know, I can tell you what I think you want to hear and sound real good.
Real good.
But I told her this, and I say this to all. Yes, I would like your vote. But between now and May 7th, allow me to earn it.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Have conversation with me.
Yeah.
Come to know who I am.
Right.
Okay.
I'm willing to do that.
Okay.
Because I want to earn the vote. And again, I don't want it to be months later. I don't ever want to have to worry about recall because I didn't do something I said I was going to do, or I'm not acting in a manner conducive to the role. Now, if somebody just have a personal something, they got a personal something. But again, I don't want legitimately it to be said that he did something he wasn't supposed to do.
He ain't answering the phone.
But between now and then, don't just throw your vote away. Don't just give it to me because I asked. I was the first person to ask for it directly.
Yeah, I respect that.
I very much. I would want to earn your vote. I want to earn it because I want you to feel good months later to say it was good that he
came and spoke.
Yeah.
But that's how we saying like we're young folks, man. Like stop asking for $1. For $5. Let me earn you $5. Right? That's the big difference. You're more prone to deal with them. I can deal with you trying to earn. If you come out here just, saying all this grandiose stuff, man, and, with no merit. We see through that.
Hey,
people that's why we call it the they'll get a recall every other week. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? She might duck this last one. She didn't had 2 already this year.
If you don't think I don't know how to put words together, all you got to do is look at my wife and then look at me.
Okay.
Look at my wife and look at me and you say, how did that brother hit? You must know how to put some words together. So I know how to put words together, but I also know how to treat people right.
Come on now.
Now I might have said I might have put some words together to get enough time extended to me to where I can show her I know how to treat you right.
Did you slow her down?
Enough to slow her down. At least say, can we not just have a conversation? Can we have more conversation?
Come on, I got more stuff to talk
about. So I know how to put words together to again address questions if I have to or if I had to, but I want to earn something here.
I respect that. I know my lady. I know my lady would say the same thing. She'd be looking like, he probably had the gift of gab when he first ran up on me. Yeah. But I had to make him stand on it.
Yeah, see
they don't make you stand on
it. Y'all look at me and look at her and say, boy,
Nah, his wife is good people. I rock with her. I appreciate it. She provide insight and knowledge. She's the bank institution too, so. You know what I'm saying? So I know that you had to come with a good conversation. Don't be faking and shaking now. I think that's the thing, though. I'm hoping people realize, like, this is what we're trying to get down to. People are really looking for some real, not saying real justice, but some real impact. Right? Some things some small wins that we can say that, yes, we are moving in the right direction. And so that's gonna be depending on who we have in office. So the brother provided his number. What next do you have coming up? That people can get involved in. Are you going out knocking on doors? Are you having a Black War convening?
We're going to be starting our door knocking. We're in the process now of sort of mapping out. And again, when I was talking about being strategic in our efforts, again, make yourself known by your vote.
That's right.
When we go to knock doors at this point, I'm not knocking 8,000 doors.
So
even though you registered, I'm not knocking. I don't have the time or the resources to knock a door where all you did was had a vote, but you didn't use it. Again, I want to earn your vote. So if you want to call me now and say, hey, I haven't been consistent in voting, whatever, but
that's strong approach.
It's now time that I activate my engagement. You the one.
You know what? I think that's how people gonna be coming. Yeah, they're gonna be coming like that. We got you got a lot of young people here actually, talking about community centers and education and connecting with you. What doors you knocking goals. That's good that folks is having those conversations. A lot of times folks be disengaged. They care less about this stuff. But I think it's really hitting home. So people may come into you and say, hey, I never was a part of the process before, but I'm looking to get in.
810-230-4426.
Now, it ain't no excuses now. If your brother is giving out his information, make sure you connect with him, call him, talk to him on a sidebar conversation. Set up a meeting with residents in the area, right? So you guys can get a good understanding of what to expect. Because I know right now you can't be too much happy with what's going on right now. I'm not even happy what's going on in my world, right? So the thing is this, right? If I'm unhappy with the circumstances, do something about it. Don't sit up there and cry on the back end. Your brother got to run right now, so you got to get in contact with him right now, most importantly. So if you're able to get in sit down, a conversation, some coffee, right?
Again,
pick the brain.
Let me say this, because I want to be clear on this. I don't intend to switch up.
That's right.
So contacting me now is going to be no different than on May 8th. I'm going to respond May 8th through the remainder of this term. This is not just again, let me date you for a while until I get a commitment from you. That ain't it.
That's right. I'm glad you said that.
That's not it.
I'm glad you said that.
That's I don't want to. I'm not gonna be that empty or shallow.
Come on now. That speaks volumes right there, Brother Roberts. I think, and I'm hoping that everybody who lives in that area, you take note, right? We definitely got some work to do, and it's gonna take everybody. The brother can't do it on his own.
I don't want to.
You don't want
to. And I don't want to cast votes without input. I solicit input. Because at the end of the day, let's say something I voted for didn't turn out quite like I'd hoped it. And I made that call all by myself.
Right.
I got to carry that failure all by myself. I don't want that weight. I want to be able to say, okay, it didn't work out for us this time. We all had input. It wasn't just because I went and did.
We all gonna take the loss.
Yeah. It's a team loss, and we gonna have team wins.
That's the best way to be about it.
I like living my life where I fall asleep real quick. Because I don't have no, and I want to continue to fall asleep real quick and easy because I know I've done right by.
The council meeting like 10 hours.
Well, yeah. I mean, 5 in the morning. But at the point again, I want to be able to rest because I don't have the weight of bad decisions that or being rogue.
Right. Wearing you down.
Yeah.
You don't got no gray hairs.
No, I got them. I don't live. I'm getting them. And they starting to take over, and I'm fine with that. I'm
Yeah,
fine
you know,
with that. But
Chuck, you all in the good, man. It's some
good.
young people that's out here. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, though, man, I'm glad we had an open, honest conversation. I'm glad we were,
thank you for having
very direct, and and the key things, the key takeaways that you want people to take from this conversation.
I am available. I will be available.
Mm-hmm.
I want your input because I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it by myself for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in this for myself.
Come on now. Mm-hmm. And we provided a number. He gave his contact, and the next steps he would be, hitting some doors up.
We're gonna be hitting doors,
looking at who voted in the area. So if you didn't vote in the area, remember, be sure to check your voter registration card. Make sure it's only one precinct over there tonight.
It's one. They merged them to one site. It's Freeman Elementary School.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I know it's at least 3 precincts. That's all there now. You can either vote there or City Hall.
You know what? We got to take him out to the Regencies.
Mm.
You know the Regencies in your area.
Yeah, I don't have no.
Yeah, about 500 people out there.
Yeah,
you win the Regencies, you won.
We can go.
I'm saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if she won last election with 300 votes, it's 400 people in the Regency.
And
they all registered to vote.
Yeah,
they just ain't vote.
Yeah, we can go. We can go.
We should definitely set up. So we definitely gonna be tapping in with the Regencies and all that surrounding area over there, man. If you got some friends and family that live in the 9th Ward, I suggest that you get them in contact with Mr. Jarrett. You can show them the broadcast, right? If they want to get some information inside of what he's talking. So, but making sure that he get connected. So we're gonna be running around with you. We're gonna be on tour, right? We're gonna make a big educational celebration out of it.
Thank you.
That's what we want to do. We want to be about true change. We want to be about progression. We want to be able to get folks in position to be able to do the work, and we all working alongside with each other. So that's how this community is moving forward. You got any ideas, concepts, brother is welcome. Please contact them. We have to bring you back on the show too. Okay. Right? We do a follow up.
Dialogue is good.
And then we got the special election is May 7th. That's the only thing that'll be on the ballot in the 9th Ward. So be sure to get that information. Tell a friend to tell a friend, right?
And for some, it might be easier or just as easy to see about an absentee ballot.
You want to say that?
Yeah, for some, it might be that way. The ballot comes directly to your door. Fill it out and drop it back off. Might be coming.
Yeah, actually, that is true. I take advantage of it too. I get them every election. So, no, you're right. Take advantage of absentee voting. And then we want to do some voter education, right? I think that was the next thing that we need to do. Just making sure that folks understand the new voting laws, understand what's out there, understand what precinct that you're in now. Just kind of give all that informational value that helps someone make a competent decision. So we're gonna be doing that too. We're gonna be calling you in to speak on that too.
Okay.
Let me connect on that.
Okay.
So we got some work to do, guys. Yeah. Right? I'm excited. You got anything you want to drop in there, Rick?
Nope. Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
Working with you. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
All right.
Reverend Flint said
the right way.
See, I'm saying, you good when the young brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reverend Flynn said, "Thank you for answering the question. He was satisfied with your answers, and he used to live in that area over there before he moved out of town.
Thank you.
So he definitely, I suggest you connect with him because he got the neighbors in that block.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
okay.
So it's just trying to make it make sense, right? But yeah, and then any updates and announcements we got, Brother Robert?
Other than today we foregone our general meeting for meeting today was tonight.
Oh man.
But we'll get back with that next week. Black Lives Matter general meeting was tonight at 7:30. I did do the agenda.
I'm sorry.
We want to make sure that we are making sure our community know about the fishing trip.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep that forefront. Juneteenth We want to make sure our community is engaged in the Juneteenth celebration from the 1st to the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that's prevalent, and also always recruiting. We are trying to get people to join Black Lives Matter Flint. So we're putting a call out to our community to be a part of our efforts, because a lot of times people talk about Eric May's passing and all that kind of stuff. But what are we going to do about it? What if each one of us are going to do? Joe Madison say, what are you going to do about it?
Good
Now,
man.
we all need to take a piece of Eric and put that within who we are so we can move our community forward and really do some amazing things that he would be proud of. So this is some things that we are encouraging our community to come and be a part of Black Lives Matter. Bring your talents. Whatever your talents is, you have a place here.
That's right. I appreciate you dropping that information. What's up, brother? Appreciate you dropping that information. Thank you, everybody who tuned in on the broadcast today. We appreciate your insight, input, just being a part of a moving, progressive community, right? We are doing some new things in 2024. We are taking it there. You know, this is just a stepping stone, right? This is a sneak peek of greatness that seek out to be. So it's going to take every one of us to go ahead and make sure that we be the difference and continue to show up every time. So we appreciate everybody who do show up. We appreciate all the grassroots leaders that's out there doing the work. We appreciate the institutions that work on behalf of the city of Flint. We appreciate everybody who's doing things that we just did unsung. So we got to acknowledge the unsung. We appreciate people who don't get the accolades or acknowledgement for doing great work in this community. And we appreciate you. Just know that we appreciate you. We love you. We want to see something greater. We want to see something better. We want to provide foundations for our youth. We want to be able to go ahead and show how robust we can be. So listen, we got a great deal to do. Please be sure to share the broadcast. Make sure you like it if you haven't liked it already, right? Be sure to get this information out there about the special election May 7th. Make sure that when we call a community conversation, we'll be talking about these things and inviting speakers up. We do have Black Women Are Divine. I almost, we got to give highlight to the Black Women Are Divine.
Right.
March 23rd. That'll be at the Haskell-Breen Senior Center. 11 to 1. We'll be honoring all Black women. We'll be just, showcasing. We got brunch taking place. We'll have food in the house. We'll be feeding. We'll have some special honorees that will be receiving awards. And we're just going to have a good time, right? We wouldn't be nowhere without our Black women. We appreciate our women for being the backbone of our culture, this country, and this world. So continue to uplift. Good night, brother Javante. Appreciate you for tapping in. Thank you. Peace and blessings, Miss Eartha. What's up, Deontay? You tripping? Everybody, thank you, Miss Taylor, for joining in on the conversation. And we will be back with brother Jonathan Jarrett, right? Of that famous Jarrett last name. We will definitely be back in the mix. He will be here more often. You got an open seat here, so you can always come in, drop information, notes, whatever you got going on, you can bring it to the platform. And we're just gonna continue to keep rocking and rolling. We're gonna continue to keep rocking and rolling and being the difference, right? So once again, like the broadcast, share it out, tap in with Mr. Jarrett. He is running for the 9th Ward City Councilman and looking to be the change. So we appreciate everybody for tapping in. You know how we tap it out this way. We tap it out with a double deuce. And so we're going to Wakanda out. And we're going to do it together. All right, Wakanda out.
Wakanda out.
We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. We light it up like sauce in the sauce in the sauce. Fli-City got some dogs in it, dogs in it, dogs. Fli-City come off authentic, authentic. We light it up like